Erased Destiny. Chapter 8. Too Many Changes. Marigold laid down and covered her face with her hands. The warm summer night encouraged her to stay outside. The bench was no less comfortable than the tiny bed, and the moons rolling across the sky offered a nicer view than the crumbling boards. The symbols scrawled on the hands had disappeared, so Marigold was not worried about the mayor's reaction to the illicit practices used on his daughter. Jargon sat on the pavement next to the bench where Marigold was resting. He had seen and heard so many unbelievable things in one evening that he seriously feared for his health. He pinched his cheek, but the dream did not disappear. He continued to sit on the stones, and the heavy breathing of the tired Marigold kept him confident that it was not an illusion.
Did you really kill 17 people?
That much I have killed the day before yesterday. Or 2 days. I don't how late it is now. I saved Ume from being kidnapped or even worse. Come on, I will help you get out of Sintra.
You are not Marigold. You can't be. What did you do with her? Where is Marigold?
The tearful tones in Jargon's voice made Marigold realize that she had one more task to do, to explain things that she herself did not understand. She had no strength. She couldn't gather her thoughts.
Not long ago you couldn't hold a sword and today you fought Torden as an equal. You couldn't ride a horse and now you are faster than me. You protect the mayor's daughter, interrogate prisoners, teach magic even though you yourself have no idea about it. You kill people.
But I didn't notice that you were following me. I am far from my former glory. If you really want to get an answer to your questions, come with me.
This time Jargon walked right next to his friend. They traversed the empty streets, occasionally only passing a drunkard singing under his breath, or a guard bored with his monotonous work and lack of lawless event. From Ume's house to the adept school they walked along a wide, comfortable path. It was impossible to get lost, but Jargon had the feeling that he was wandering in a fog. He wouldn't find the way back on his own. Etienne knocked on Pillis' room, located on the top floor of the school. The groan of the awakened mage quickly escalated into muffled curses and a summoned fireball. Etienne pushed Jargon away from the door, ready to receive the attack with hands spread in a fan.
Why so late? Is there any crisis? Or did you bring us an apprentice?
Pillis greeted the guests, almost naked. His hands glowed in orange, but after seeing Marigold, the old mage calmed down.
No, although Jargon can do magic. We wanted to talk. About me. About what I don't remember. Why I don't remember.
Oh, that. Yes, please, come in. I'll get dressed right away.
The mage put a loose tunic on himself and sat down on the bed. Marigold sat down on the floor and stared mindlessly at the ceiling, and Jargon leaned against the wall. Together, they looked exceedingly peculiar, if the reason for the visit wasn't enough as the strangest event of the last few months.
I lived in the palace during the reign of Etienne, our previous ruler, then Elstar, her son, and for a short time after Zuzu took the throne. I don't know what happened 15 years ago. I will tell you what Zuzu said on the day of her coronation.
How old was she then? 25?
As you wished, my lady. She killed Elstar on her birthday, your birthday, the 5th of Luden in any case. And we started celebrating the new year in winter again. A play of lights, a light mist, a ray of sunlight, and the shadow of trees. The creation of an illusion.
A young woman with an athletic body and a long braid flowing down her back appeared in the room. A woman wearing the silver robe of the Lady of the Crystal Palace, but with dark blue hair instead of silver. Her green eyes harmonized beautifully with the delicate crown she decorated her forehead with, and her long earrings gave the impression of bird feathers. Etienne sighed. She didn't understand Zuzu's love of jewelry, nor her sense of beauty.
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the sacrifice of my mother Etienne. She had battled death itself to save us all, a battle she had lost. But her actions weakened death and distanced the doom from us.
I died. In a fight with death. I could have seen this coming.
Few could threaten you, my lady. It is true. If it comforts you, thanks to the alliances you have made, so far no one has dared to attack us.
Along with the Lady of the Crystal Palace, her beloved Nathan, the leader of the Seekers, fell. He protected her until the very end, for which he himself paid with his life. We wanted to resurrect our heroes. However, we did not find them on the other side.
Nathan. Etienne stretched her hand out in front of her, trying to grasp the fleeting shape peeking before her eyes. Nathan, her husband, a lover, a friend, the best guard she had, the man she put to death with her own hands. She whispered his name. Memories started to flow through her mind. Nathan got hit by death's scythe. It damaged his body, but more his spirit. Ten didn't manage to get back her body. She ran out of time before completing her new form. As a phantom, she could use only magic of death against the death itself. She knew she had no chance to win. Nevertheless, she decided to fight. To protect people she loved. To save the world one more time. The song Etienne sang to tear down the altar of death. The scythe she used to block the smoke spells. Sitting between stalagmites, Fidelis, Afi, Aelin, Luna, Uzuma, Art, Sonia, future ruler Zuzu, and other supposedly heroic people. Those who had promised Etienne that this time she did not have to sacrifice herself. That she had done enough for all of them. Only Nathan left a hideout to at least try to help Etienne. And Fidelis, whom Etienne asked to save the unreasonable half-vampire, but it was already too late. Etienne didn't remember how she defeated death or how she died. But she died, and Nathan destroyed his body to follow her. He destroyed her plans again, deprived her of happy life as a kid in his custody. Why didn't he listen to her? Why didn't he take care of her? Etienne couldn't remember. They flew through a tunnel full of light, together, finally together. As two ghosts, they decided to try once more, to find suitable bodies and take control over them. To live happily together, far away from the Crystal Palace and fights for the crown. What went wrong this time? Zuzu's hollow voice snapped Etienne out of her own thoughts.
Perhaps they got lost somewhere in our world. Perhaps they took material forms, found new bodies. My first decree is to establish a reward for the one who finds them. The Seekers are obliged to look for them, as much as death and mind mages.
Pillis dispelled the illusion, and Jargon stared at him, then at Marigold. He still didn't understand anything. He even began to think that everyone around him had lost their minds.
Etienne and Marigold both live in Marigold's body. Two consciousnesses, two stories, two characters, two personalities in one body. The more Marigold uses magic, the more she evokes memories of her former life. The more active Etienne becomes.
So don't cast spells. Go home. Be the old yourself.
No, without Etienne I was nobody. I was working beyond my strength to earn few coppers that my father could use to buy more alcohol.
Marigold's icy tone made Jargon settle to the floor. He couldn't believe what he was hearing.
Marigold wouldn't kill the Triheads. Marigold would not recover the money stolen by the bandits. Marigold would not have saved Ume nor taught her anything. All this was done by Etienne. Thanks to her I have something to live for. I have money to pay for my food and clothes. I have job I really like. I have friends and people who respect me. I know that it is not for free. I know that I follow the shortcut and sooner or later I would need to pay for it. But I am fine with that.
I'm afraid that even without Marigold's direct involvement, Etienne would have woken up. She does not dominate Marigold, does not change her personality or behavior. Rather, she helps.
You name it helping. Leave her alone.
The boy covered the entire room with snow, along with the people inside. With 2 gestures of her fingers, Etienne formed a barrier around herself, and the elderly mage nullified the spell with a blast of fire. The water collecting in his room once again reminded him that he no longer lived in the Crystal Palace, and no one would fix the floor for him.
A bit of self-control. Being magical does not entitle you to demolish other people's homes, nor such outbursts of anger.
Instead of an apology, Pillis lived to see another wave of coldness.
Enough. Get a grip on yourself. Before I deprive you of your power.
Jargon looked at his lying friend with wide eyes. She was playing with a strand of her hair. She wasn't doing anything strange, but just being in the same room with her raised the hairs on his arms. The lady of the Crystal Palace. Once possessing the greatest power among the living as well as the dead, the woman laid on the wet carpet at Pillis' school, and she was playing with her hair. Driven to a dead end, Jargon felt he was losing ground under his feet. He panically looked around the room for an escape route.
Take her out. Put her in some other body.
Only the lady of the Crystal Palace can help you. None of us possess that kind of knowledge or skill, and it's a long way to the palace. Marigold is still too young, and Etienne is too unstable. I am afraid they have to put up with each other for a while.
I will go to the palace when I turn 16. Thank you for the explanation, and I am sorry for the late intrusion and those damages. Jargon, get yourself together. I will escort you to the gate.
They left the school and followed the path to the gate. Etienne explained to Jargon that because of the incident with guards do not open gates for anyone, even if paid. Therefore, she teleported him to the other side of the walls, to the stables, where Patch waited for her owner. Jargon didn't remember anything. He took his horse and rode to the vineyard.